morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to Unity of Little Rock. This is a beautiful day to be shining your light, right? To be the beings that you are, bringing that spirit, that love, that divine nature that flows in you and through you forward. And someone needs to take my volume down, please. In Unity, we believe in one presence and one power in the universe, God, the omnipotence. And that through prayer and meditation and affirmation, we align and confirm that within our own lives. And through the power of mind action, that which we think and believe and hold in mind produces in mind for us, that we also strengthen, align, and create that good in our lives. So you've come this morning, and I invite you to join me this morning in recognizing too that there is this wonderful gamut of rainbows in the universe, okay? And that each of us is a rainbow. We're bringing forth that divine expression in our own unique way. There's also something happening this week or this month, and that's Disability Pride Month. And Disability Pride Month is a chance to honor each person's uniqueness as a natural and beautiful part of the human diversity. And this comes from you, who's the founder of Diversability, an awesome foundation disability chapter. He said, I want people to confront what creates ableism, the discrimination of people with disabilities, and why they don't like the world disabled. Because in reality, there is nothing evil or wrong with being disabled. So just remember our own privilege in the world when we don't define ourselves as disabled, that we have an advantage sometimes, but that advantage doesn't make us over and above. It just makes that all of us have our own unique expression that we're bringing into the world. John mentioned that we're talking about the colors of life this month. Okay? And Jeannie, for those of you who were last week, she got us to play with colors and create colors and just have a good old how time in the expression of those colors. And we're going to take a little different slant today, just as our speakers do, because we have a theme for the month. Each of the speakers brings through their own interpretation, their own experience, and what arises within them. So I'm going to bring something a little forward for you, maybe a little different than Jeannie did. But what I hope for us is that we boldly dare to be a pop of color in a black and white world, okay? That we acknowledge that our uniqueness and what we're bringing to the world isn't something that needs to be hid under a bushel, but shared and expressed into the world. And that we have that right, and to me, we should recognize that we're called to do that because we're here on this planet, in this place. Buddha is credited with saying all that we are is the result of what I've thought. The mind is everything. What we think, we become. Okay? That's the law of mind action in Unity. That what we hold in mind produces those same thoughts, and thus we keep seeing the world through those eyes. So this morning, I hope that we're transformed in this experience. And I'm going to invite us to set an intention. You personally set an intention. This is sacred space. And within sacred space, you get to set the intention of what you want to receive, what you want to experience, who you want to be here. So you get to set that intention. And I'm going to begin today. By inviting, take a breath with me. And with this intention, let's let it radiate forth. And knowing that we are luminous beings, and that this source that is the origin of all is in this space, is in this place, and is within us, because all that is that source. So within that intention for us is to know that that divine presence is our presence. And that what we claim, what we hold in mind, we produce. So what is it, the intention that you want? What's in your world that you would love to be transformed? What is that? In your personal life, in the life of the planet, however it may be imagined by you. What does that imagination arise to give you intention to? Because each of us are this divine flow of spirit. In essence, we talk about, many traditions talk about that we're water and fire and earth and air. Well, all those components make up the universe, but they're part of us as well. And that flows through us and in us. So the intention you hold is the intention that is ignited by that spirit. And with that, before we do our opening prayer and move into our opening process, we're going to move a little. I know some of you are going, oh crap. That's okay. That's okay. This song is a lot of energy, a lot of movement, and I invite you, if you're able to stand up and at least tap a foot, okay? Just a little movement of the body. Because we want to move us out of where we're at. Because if we're looking for something different in our world, then we must be different. And that can begin in so many different ways. You can get a different haircut, right? And be a little different. But to me, the movement of the body is such a powerful force of that. Brittany and I were talking this morning, there's something called liturgical dance within many spiritual traditions in which dance and movement is part of the tradition. There's ecstatic dance. There's all kinds of different dances out there about allowing you to move and have freedom of that movement. So I invite you, stand up if you're willing. If you need to sit back down, sit back down. Okay? But at least a little foot tapping, a little head nodding, okay? At least some movement. But the bigger, the better, okay? Here we go.
Know this, but colors vibrate at frequencies, right? And they're very fast frequencies. So music is also obviously frequencies and tones. So if you got enough octaves, I read this years ago and I was telling my kids, if you got a high enough octave of colors, then when you played, it would come, I'm sorry, high enough octaves of music, it would come on colors.
Oh, wow.
In theory. So isn't that interesting?
Thank you,
Just
Dad.
help me create my next
Music would come on colors, yeah. Wow, amazing.
So thank y'all for playing, because in my experience, we get all nervous because we got to dance, and people are going to see us move, and I'm not used to dancing, and like me, I ain't got no rhythm, so I'm worried people are going to see I don't have any rhythm, but I've learned that most people don't even know what rhythm is, so I'm okay with that. Y'all know that I was up at the Unity Village a few weeks ago at the annual conference for Unity, and we danced every day. And one of my favorite classmates that I hung with most of the time, she said, "Bah humbug," to dance every time, every time. But what I noticed is that after we danced, every time I looked over, she was grinning. So it was impacting her, even though she was bah humbugging it. Okay? So thank y'all for playing along. This morning, let's acknowledge our Christ candle. Our Christ is actually recognizing that there's a light within us all, that divine within us all. We're not separate from God. And this candle is just simply for us to remember that we shine forth because that divine is within us. And if we'll state our opening statement together. There is only one presence and one power active in my life and in the universe, God, the good, the omnipotence. So let's do our daily word. Laura. Yeah.
So our daily word affirmation: during times of uncertainty, I trust divine order. How often have I felt disappointed when something did not work out as I had planned or hoped, only to discover a blessing I had not anticipated? Understanding that a seeming obstacle may actually be an unrecognized opportunity, I resist the temptation to wonder why the setback is happening. Instead, I pray, asking what is mine to do. I may receive guidance to wait for a better time to pursue a plan. Or perhaps an insight will arise out of what appeared to be failure, showing me a way forward that will accomplish even greater good. Affirming divine order keeps me patient and trusting in right outcomes in all situations. So let's repeat our affirmation together. During times of uncertainty, I trust divine order.
Yeah, thank you. All right.
Amen to that today.
Yes.
Right on point.
Thank you.
So, as I move into prayer here, I just want to acknowledge that I'm guessing that all of us know that there was an attempt on a candidate's life. And I just hold as part of our intention, talked about it earlier about setting intention, that we all live in a world that people don't need to die for their belief systems, nor do people need to kill for their belief systems. So I'm just going to hold all in that awareness that we can be our unique rainbows of expression in this world and still find common ground. Find that even when we don't see eye to eye, that we can find that there's a place for us to find alignment in this world. And with that, I invite you to join me in prayer. But we recognize that there is one power and one presence in the universe. The divine mind, the universal intelligence, God. And that we, being the expressions, the children of God, the expressions of that divine, hold those same truths within us, the power and the certainty, the love and the compassion, the intelligence, the wisdom. All that is God is held within us, and yet we express it uniquely. Each of us brings through a trait and a quality that is ours to bring through. That's why we're such a gift to the planet, because no one else brings through what you bring through. The colors that you shine into the world, no one else does it just like you. But you're bringing forth that light, that Christ nature. And when you bring it into the world must change. Because it responds to you, and in response, there is change. So we see a world in which we're aligning in peace, that wisdom and intelligence of the divine nature is our wisdom and intelligence, and that we're making decisions that allow us to unfold that universal wisdom and intelligence, and that the world is a better place, and that we are better people, and that the truth of who we are is not just known by a few, but by all of us. That consciousness, that universal intelligence is opening within us all, and that we're being the movement of the divine in the world. And I'm grateful that we have a community to be a part of, that we can share who we are, to be on different sides of the fence, but still loving and compassionate to one another. And I say thank you for that. And so it is. Amen. Okay. I'm gonna have to sit down. You notice we had a little color today. I want to compliment Dave. Almost everything you see added in here is compliments of Dave.
I want to know what your house looks like.
Found your
Pretty
fans.
wild.
But I wanted us to bring in and recognize that, yes, there's every color under the sun. And Jeannie brought in the idea of last week that the colors in our lives impact us. We hear about it all the time. You paint the walls a certain color if you want a certain experience within your space. So colors do that. I had a great mentor one time. She had spent most of her life as a researcher, and it was mostly in pharmaceutical research. And so in that, you take a medication and you test it on people, but you have to give a group of people a placebo. You remember a placebo? That's just something that's inert. It supposedly shouldn't affect anyone at all. And you're trying to compare and see how your medication does. But what she said was, yes, a placebo always seemed to help people, and we would know that as part of mind action and unity, that, excuse me, that the thoughts held in mind produce of the kind. If I'm taking something and believe it's going to help me, then my body responds. But she added something. What she added was the color of the placebo also made a difference. So that we're influenced and impacted by those colors. And she said that even they could even chart which colors were going to make what percentage of effect. And it also seemed to be cultural. One culture responded to colors differently, and that would make sense because not every culture thinks blue is soothing and calming. That might be an energetic color for them. So colors impact us based where we're at. So when I thought about this theme, I told the board, I don't know what to do with colors in life. But this week, I'm working in the chiropractic office this week, and I'm seeing patients, and I'm seeing tall patients and short patients. I'm seeing wide patients and thin patients. I'm seeing patients that have horrendous health issues, and patients that hardly have any health issues. Right? I'm seeing people that talked non-stop from the minute I met them to people that I would just, can you give me just one more word, please? Please, help me out here. I saw people that were dressed to the nines, and people who was like, you had those clothes a long, long time. I saw people that were hopeful and optimistic, and I saw people that were frightened and concerned where they were at in life. Some people that discussed having ample money, those that discussed not seemingly having enough. I saw this whole wide spectrum of people. And for me, that little light bulb went off that I realized what I'm seeing are the colors of life. These people are bringing through all these expressions of the light, the source, God. and they're bringing into the world. And here's their unique way of bringing those colors forth into the world. So, I'm thinking of them as rainbows, right? They're bringing some of that color through, because most of the people that I'm addressing with are having challenges in life. That's why they're showing up for a chiropractor, right? So they have some clouds in their life. You remember how are rainbows created? How do you create a rainbow?
Light and sun.
Light through a prism.
Yes, and yes. You have to have light, our sun. It has to shine actually through a cloud. And what's in the cloud? The moisture, okay? The moisture is what refracts the light so that you get the colors of a rainbow. How many colors are there in a rainbow?
7.
7. I read research this week. Actually, all the colors are in a rainbow. Yep, that one. Whatever one you were just thinking. It's in a rainbow. Right? So all those colors are there. So you actually need that cloud, that which separates out the light for it. We have this aversion to things that are unpleasant in our world, right? And we want to get rid of them quickly. But those clouds in our life are the things that help produce the colors. You came into this life, you're divine in your nature, but are you fully expressing all the light, all the divine in this one moment? No. If you were, you would be every possibility at this moment. Okay? Your potential for every possibility is here for you, but you're not expressing that. But also, so that's your color, that's the rainbow you bring into the world. But also you bring other clouds into your world. What clouds did we bring into the world? I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not strong enough. I'm not tall enough. I'm not short enough. I don't have enough hair. You know, whatever it might be. Those are our clouds, because what do we do with those clouds? They impact how we allow our light, or the divine, our awareness of our consciousness to shine through into the world. And we like to put a period after our statement, meaning it's definite and definitive. That's all there is to it. I've had a great cloud in my life, and y'all have heard me talk about some of my childhood. It was unsafe in some of the era of my life. So I grew up with this concept that I am not safe. And even as I got to be an adult, I was carrying this concept. My cloud was I am not safe, and had a period after it. So everything that I approached in my life, I was approached subconsciously from I'm not safe. Until somebody in their brilliance told me, why don't you erase the period at the end of that sentence? Okay? And when they did, it started simply for me. It was, I am not safe when I'm 6 years old and I'm with my father. Well, okay, that statement has some truth to it. But I started to evolve that. I started to put exceptions at the end of that. Because I'm not safe, except when I'm with my wife, Kim. I feel very safe there. Oh, and when I'm with this friend. Oh, and I'm with this parent, my mother, my sister. I started being able to actually just put either a colon or a hyphen at the end of that statement for me. And I started to evolve that cloud for me. Because sometimes those clouds, we don't just put them in our sky of our life. We think that they're our whole sky. That all there is just that statement. So think about you. Just think at this moment. What's the clouds that are in your life? Maybe you know some of those core beliefs that you grew up with, that typically somebody else handed to us, right? And we picked it up and put it in our pocket and said, I'm gonna make that mine, okay? Not intentionally, but that's the way it transpired for us. What are those clouds for you? So those clouds actually are trying to help shape you to what colors you bring to the world. What colors do you think I brought to the world when all I could hold about myself is I am not safe? Gray. Well, gray, but I was very much filtered a certain way, right? And that's true of all of us for how we bring that through. And when we talk about, when you read all the different traditions, they talk about being enlightened and awakened, right? They're talking about being aware of the consciousness of the divine that's within us, but also living that, expressing that. And our clouds are what filter us and separate us out from that light. So for us to discover and work and address those clouds, that's how we awaken to the light that we are. More so, not just I get it up here, but I embody it and become it. I begin to express it, just like moving your body this morning. It moves through me, and now I move into the world as that. Not just a conscious thought, but a conscious embodiment that moves into the world and takes action that impacts not only my life, but the lives and the world around me. So, because I have come so much of my life from that place of not being saved, what I note when I sit with many people, this isn't true of everyone, but your clouds sometimes have a core. And the core is, if I think I'm not smart enough and I'm over here talking to genius Laura, okay, I'm going to project onto her that she's looking at me and thinking I'm not smart enough, right? I'm stupid, I'm not intelligent, okay? And I'm interacting with her in a way that helps reinforce that. But my belief is I'm not really safe with her because she's judging me for who I perceive my deficits are in my world. So many of the ways that we step up with our clouds and what we believe about ourselves, I believe there's an issue of we don't feel safe because we feel like we're being judged in the world. So today, are going to get us to play again, okay? We're going to move into what might be called our meditation time, but it's really an exercise. And I'm going to reinforce here, why do we meditate?
Quiet the mind.
To quiet the mind? Does it make the mind get completely quiet? No. No. So I'm just going to simply offer for us without much elaboration on this. We meditate so that we become aware of what the mind's doing and that we can start asking the questions of who's watching? If my mind has thoughts, who's recognizing that my mind has thoughts? When I sit in meditation, my neighbor dog barks 24/7. I don't know how a creature can always have a voice, but that dog barks all day long, every day. So during my meditation, what I get to hear is dog barking. And I can be ticked about it, or I can just recognize it as part of my meditation. What part of me just recognizes it as just an event and doesn't need to judge it one way or the other? So what part is me is doing that watching is part of why we meditate. And if you want to blow your mind is when you start getting an answer to that. Okay? Because right now, for some of us, meditation is just, I'm sitting on my chair and my butt's getting tired and I'm having all these thoughts and I'm concerned about the day. But as you continue to meditate and continue to meditate, you become far more aware of who the watcher is. So with that, the exercise I'm going to do today isn't really so much meditation as just that, an exercise. But to participate in this exercise, I'm going to invite you again, if you're willing, to stand up. You're going to stand for a little bit. It won't be immensely long. If you need to sit down, sit down. Nobody's going to run around with the chair police and make you do one thing or the other. So, begin here. Begin by, you can add an intention to this. You don't even know where I'm going with this, but you can set an intention as part of this as well. What is that intention? Mine is that I'm okay. I'm okay wherever I'm at, whatever I'm doing, whatever's taking place in my life, I'm okay with that. So if your eyes are closed, I invite you to open them for just a moment here. Take a breath through your nose, lift it up, and blow out through your mouth. Do that again, through the nose, up, and exhale out through the mouth. And third time. And if you want to close your eyes, I invite you that'll help in this process. But feel your feet on the floor. The weight of your body is pushing in. And you're on the floor, but you're on the earth. And with each breath, each inhalation, you're pulling that earth energy in. And it's flowing up your legs and flowing into the core of you. And you can see it as light building, the golden orb growing within you. And as your thoughts drift away and you think about this afternoon and lunch and tomorrow, just come back. Come back to your breath. Come back to you feeling your feet on the floor. And also recognize that there's this great line, this string running through you and going right out the crown of your skull. It's holding it upright and straight. But it's connecting into the heart of the universe. Way out there. And as you breathe in that energy, that light, and it flows through your crown, flowing again into the core of your being. Into that golden orb, into the light that you are. And it's okay here, if your body wants to move a little, move. If you need to yawn a little more to bring that oxygen in, then yawn. Just know as you drift away, then drift back. It's that simple. And you feel yourself being more calm, Note where you feel tension in your body and let that area relax. Let those shoulders drop. Let those rear cheeks untighten. And from right here, ask, am I okay? Am I okay in this moment? And the answer is yes, because you're always okay in this moment. No matter what's transpiring around you and even to you. That which you are within is always okay. And when you ask that question, am I okay in this moment? And you get something other than yes, then return to your feet. Return to your breath. Continue to let that breath, that light build, that body relax, and that mind grow more at ease. And then ask again, am I okay in this moment? And here I'm going to invite you, if you're not already in your seat, return to your seat. Just sit back down. We'll play a little music here. It's got a little energy to it. If you want to just be quiet while this is playing, if you want to move, then move. No, there's no right or wrong. There's no can't or got to. Just whatever's for you that you need in this moment. Cyndi Lauper, and if there's anybody that was expressing their true colors, just look at what she has.
She never stops.
Yes, yes. So that exercise, I don't think that we talk enough about it, is that meditation is just a crucial part, along with our affirmations, along with prayer, and helping us connect. But there's many types of exercises that are beneficial for us. In this case, maybe even helping us work with those clouds in our life. Do you know the story of where rainbows came from in the Bible? Okay. Story y'all know. It's about Noah and the flood. Okay. Remember, God has asked Noah. God basically said there needs to be a little cleansing, okay? And got Noah to build this really big boat, okay? And to put every creature on the planet one by one onto the one by one, meaning partner is what I meant by that, together. And that flood lasted for over a year. But as the waters receded, according to the story, God comes and says that I'm going to give you a symbol. Here's a rainbow. And this rainbow is my covenant with you. To me, metaphysically, it's the hope. The rainbow is representative of the hope for us. But also part of that covenant. Let's see if I have it right here. Yeah, here it is. says that, then God said to Noah and his sons with him, I establish my covenant with you that never again shall all flesh be cut off by the waters of the flood, and never again shall there be a flood to destroy the earth. I look at that metaphysically because it says cut off. Never again will you be cut off. That implies that before that, you could have got cut off. That maybe you could cease to exist. But after the floods, you can't be cut off. You can't be cut off from the light. You're always connected to the source. You're always connected to God. You can't be cut off from that. And that your clouds actually would help produce that rainbow. They help remind you, to bring back that hope for you that you can't be cut off. So our clouds actually for us in our life are part of our spiritual growth. Because we like to think that they're all bad and terrible and I don't want that thing. But it's part of that cloud, it's part of that struggle, it's part of that problem that we've identified that helps us spiritually grow. And it's not because the problem makes us grow. It's what we do with the problem, right? It's how we walk into it, how we walk through it, how we address it, who we become as we approach that problem. There's where the spiritual transformation comes from. So I'm just going to invite you. This exercise that we did comes from Rites and Rituals by Ariana Platten, but there's all types of exercises like that that you can find that can be a part of your creative practices. Most days I meditate, and some days I just do an exercise. Some days I do an exercise and I meditate. It's just kind of where I'm at and what I'm feeling like in my life. But I try to return to that meditation and to prayer as a regular practice for me. And just like my colleague that I told you, the Bah Humbug dance, sometimes I just want a Bah Humbug prayer and meditation. Just because I'm got things to do, places to go, people to see, right? And I don't want to do anything with it. Well, I'm not going to get it there. But whenever I do it, I can always tell I feel a difference. Just like the smile on her face, I can always tell there's a difference in my life when I do that. So, for colors, we are those colors, and we're the rainbow. And that we may try and separate ourselves out more so to bring different colors, maybe even gray, into our world. But the more we address that, the more we bring through all those colors, that light of the divine nature that we are, the more our world changes, our world shifts. I'm eventually going to get it. And the more the world gets to change around us with us. Now there's part of my mentor that was a researcher. It was during the era that they were doing lots of research that you can't watch what you're researching and not change it. By the fact that you're observing it, you change it as the observer. So, what we bring into the world and how we look at the world and how we see what's taking place in the world, we get to be part of changing that world. So with that, I'm going to invite us, let's move into our opportunity to give. But you know, y'all give for your own reasons, but what your money goes to isn't just taking care of the building, paying bills. It's giving a place for people to come, to have the experience of. I'm going to ask him to kill that. To come and meet people, to have an interaction. Y'all are sometimes the only people that people get to feel safe with. to have a conversation with, to have a coffee with, and that you provide that space for people to come. They come when sometimes that they feel hopelessness, that they get touched and have a little inspiration that maybe things aren't quite as hopeless as I thought. But also, sometimes it's just a place to come and laugh and meet new friends, see old friends. That's what your money provides for here, as well as the opportunity for spiritual transformation, to be aware and step into the truth of your own being. And just to close out our intent for today, we've come together. That light is unfolded here with each of you. You've been the rainbow that you brought to this room and to this experience. That source of divine is now yours to claim the next layer of it, the next depth of it, the next experience of it. And you get to take it into the world. So thank you for being that divine presence. And thank you for showing up in the world in a way that transforms this world into the world that we as a people want to see. And with that, so it is. And it